Hello, Renae Saager here, life coach, and it has been a hot minute since I've been on here. Today, I wanted to come in and talk about not needing to be hungry to eat. What? Okay, so a big thing that happens when we start to intuitively eat, heal our relationship with food, eat in a way that feels good, is it's common for people to then fall into the hunger and fullness diet. And we can pretty much turn anything into a diet if we want, right? If we try hard enough. And so this is going to be hopefully an attempt to help you not fall into that trap, because I don't want this process. I don't want intuitive eating. I don't want listening to your body to be another thing that didn't work. Because so many clients of mine are like, I don't think I'm getting it. I don't think I'm doing it right. And I'm like, there is nothing to get. There is nothing to do right. Like, it's literally listening to what your body wants and needs, and that's it. But here's the thing. I'm going to give you a personal experience. I was just asking a client if she liked when I shared personal stories, because I don't want it to be all about me, but sometimes I feel like it can be easier to relate to and just not feel so alone when you hear someone else being like, no, I went through that exact same thing. So when I was earlier on in this work, healing my own relationship with food, trying to stop binge eating, trying to stop adhere to this good way of eating, this plan, this program, there were many dinner reservations that I went to stuffed. I went to them stuffed because I would know Friday morning, I'd be like, okay, I have this dinner reservation at Friday night, 5:30. My old MO is to restrict. Anytime I have a dinner reservation, anytime I have a party or an event to go to, I want to restrict all day long. So that way when I go, I can eat whatever I want without guilt. I can just not even have to worry about it. And breaking up with that wasn't an overnight thing. Like that took practice realizing that, like, oh, I can still eat like a full breakfast, a full lunch, a snack or two, and go out to dinner. The thing is, it's like when I started doing this, when I started this work for myself, I would get really anxious. I would get really anxious about going out to dinner and like trying not to eat too much, but also knowing that I needed to eat something or else I would want to binge. It was like really, I had this very fine line I was trying to walk all day long. And there were a handful of times where I would have a dinner reservation at 5:30, and you know what? By 3 o'clock, I was eating 2 sandwiches and some chips and a piece of fruit. And then I would think like, oh no, I've ruined my dinner. Like, ah. And you know what? I went to dinner anyways, and I ate dinner. Now I know this might sound kind of like, duh, or trivial or weird or whatever, but that was incredibly challenging for me because I felt like I'd ruined the whole thing. I'd ruined the whole evening. But I had to go through that process where I just like overshot the snack before dinner. I ate a much bigger lunch than I had expected, and dinner came way earlier than I had realized. And so I was sitting at a really nice restaurant that I was super excited to eat at, thinking like, ugh, I'm not even hungry. But you know what? I went anyways because I cared about the people that were there. And maybe I still ordered a whole entree, and maybe I just got like a soup and a salad or an appetizer or just dessert. Maybe I didn't get the appetizer and the salad and the entree and the soup and then the dessert and then eat all the bread, but I still went. And the more I was able to do that, the more times I had practice. Okay, here we go. I'm going to eat during the day. I'm not going to not eat. I just kind of found that balance for myself and that self-trust that I can allow myself to eat in the day and not go off the hinges. I had to get comfortable with that process. I had to get comfortable realizing I didn't have to save up all my calories for the end of the day, because I lived that way for a long time, like calculating everything I was going to eat beforehand, tallying up the calories if that was an option, figuring out every entree and appetizer and dessert and like the carbs and blah, 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 the craziness. Like, I hardly enjoyed the meals because I was so stressed out about what I was going to eat and the nutrition and everything. So it took me a while to undo that. So if you're in this work, if you're doing this process, if you're working on not binge eating, if you're working on healing your relationship with food, not restricting all day, every day, not binging, give yourself the grace, give yourself the window, give yourself just the time to figure this out. This is the biggest thing I see, is that people think I'm not getting it fast enough. How long have you been struggling with food? Most of the people that I work with that have been struggling with food have been struggling for at least 10 years, if not 20 or 30. Okay? So give yourself that grace to just start to undo all those old things that you've been doing, all those rules that you've been adhering to, those beliefs that you've had. And if you have a reservation, if you have a dinner party and you know what, you overshot the snack, you ate a bigger lunch than you thought, it's okay to go out to dinner anyways. It's okay to have an appetizer or a salad or a soup. You know, it's showing up. The more you do this, the more you practice, the better at it you're going to be. All right, I hope that's helpful.